All right, cool. So scout cards. So kind of like a little bit, again, theme of who we are with a lot of things, right? It's about efficiency, right? And recycling cards, right? Saving you guys tons of time in season. I was a college coach, and I remember how, you'd be spending drawing up by hand. It takes up most of your Tuesday and Wednesday, right? So we aim to alleviate those issues and whatnot. So let's dive in. I'm going to focus, since most of you guys are offensive guys besides one, we're going to focus in on the offensive side with scout cards, okay? Right from the jump, guys, and this is really anywhere on our platform, but you see a running list of a lot of things, right? Okay, so we want to come up here to our group icon, and now we can have some really clean organization by grouping it by our practices and how we're building things out. So I'm going to group this by season, okay? And then I'm going to add another layer by opponent.
Yeah, that's all.
And we're really now within our new format going to make sure you have no other choice but to organize it by that. So when I go to add a practice, okay, well, let's just dive in and just open this up then. So what I can have is 24 North Central College. All my different practices are now inside of that, okay? So let's build a new one just for the sake of it. And let's say it's we'll go Lake Forest, since you guys got the majority of us in here. So let's go new practice, okay? And we're going to call this Tuesday practice. Again, you can name it whatever you want. Opponent is going to be Lake Forest College. Just type that in and I hit enter. Okay, season, maybe I want to put it as 25, right? So I have a 2025 folder now. Okay, and I hit submit. So now I'm inside of my practice, guys. Okay, and now where we see add edit periods is going to be where I can add in the different periods of practice that you guys always do, right? This is your standard stuff, right? So we want this to be an inside run. I'm just typing in enter. We also want to have a 7-on-7 period that day. We also want to have a team. Maybe you want to have multiple teams, whatever. Team 1, team 2, so on and so forth. The hands, you can actually click and drag and reorder these around. Maybe it's after practice and you want to get rid of a period. You simply can hit the X on the right-hand side and delete that period, okay? We're not going to. I'm just going to hit save. It's asking me, you sure you want to delete that? Let's go back. No. But now I hit save, and I've created a shell of my practice, okay? So that's right from the jump. I want to go back just for a second, though, okay, to my scout card so you can see, you can bounce out of it. Now you're going to see this clean organization for you guys year in and year out to be able to find different things in your practices right here. So now I have a 25 folder with my Lake Forest College, Tuesday practice. Okay, so you're going to be able to have another folder then for when we play MOBAP, right? Or whoever it might be. Okay, so let's go inside of this now and let's talk a little bit about just general things in terms of adding in plays and whatnot. So a couple ways that we can do this. All right, we're going to go to inside run. And now, bottom right, we can hit the quick add. I can hit this as many times as I want, guys, okay? And I'm just creating plays. Now, for coordinators in here or those people that might be scripting and whatnot, you guys have the ability to click on this pencil. And this inside run, we actually want to see this ace versus an over G. Okay, you can just click on this and go through your script. Maybe some people actually want to do it left hash, and do all that stuff. So that way those guys know. We see teams do it that way. We see a lot of different things. So literally you could do it in different ways like, hey, left hash, right? We want to see tray versus an odd. However you guys want to do that, that's fine. You're just typing in here whatever you want this to be. Here we want to see, doubles versus odd. Okay. Now you want to draw these up. Let me go back a step. The benefit of this is you could have one guy in here doing this script. Multiple coaches are in here working, right? So then all of a sudden they see another card pop up or a play pop up. That coach can actually, a couple ways, click inside the play, and now you're in here just like you would build a play. And you can go to diagrams, okay? Or, let's go back. You can also click on this little diagram symbol right here, and this takes you directly to the diagram tab. Or you could also click on it over here, plus diagram from our diagram tool. Now, when you click on that, guys, This is going to take you inside now where you can now search for any diagram you've ever had in your system, right? One of the things that people don't understand is like, I want to filter this down by my scout cards. So I can actually come over here to type now and filter this just from my scout cards. So I'm searching only my scout card section. Okay? And so I can come in here, now I can type in that, hey, we want to see ace versus over G. You know, we type in ace, okay? Processing. And so all of these cards are now coming up, and let's go ahead and use this one as a diagram. So now I'm inside of here, and now I can do whatever I want to this. Defensive scout cards, it's going to look like this, right, guys? You know, if you're a defensive guy, obviously you're going to flip it and have it this way. You can highlight, move, edit, you know, and you guys know that's not going to affect anything in, you know, with your other stuff. So maybe we actually want to delete out, you know, my secondary guys, so on and so forth, all these different lines, right? You can do all these different things, and that's fine. We're creating a new diagram, basically. Okay, you can edit it. You can use your favorites, do all of that. We all good from that standpoint, guys, from this diagramming? Okay, I don't want to dive into too much with the diagramming, more organization and how we can recycle things. But we're going to hit save and exit. Okay, and obviously I could have just deleted that so we only have the box. Inside run, offensive guys, sometimes you just want the box, right? Whatever you want to do from that standpoint. Now I want to show you one other thing. If I go back into this play and I go to diagrams, this is a little bit different than our old way, okay? If I hit add diagram, you're going to see it comes up unable to add diagram. Because we're doing scout cards, right? You're only going to have one diagram per play, right? Whereas in the past, it was a little bit different how we organize things. Now it's, hey, this is just that one diagram for that play. You're going to have to add on. Now, one thing that's nice and can save you guys time, instead of keeping to go back out to inside run, I literally can just go to my top right, jump to, right here, and I can jump to left hash, tray. Let's add that one in there now by hitting in, you know, typing in now tray right, whatever this is. Okay, and again, maybe I want to use, let's filter by my scout cards and see what we have in here. So we type in tray, and what did I say I was going to see that verse? An odd or an over, under? I don't know. We'll just click on this one. Again, I can edit that left hash however I want to do that. Great. We'll hit save and exit. You can make your tweaks, edit things however you want to do that. But again, guys, being able to search by diagram name, that's why it's so important. And we always try to talk in trainings about being really detailed with how you're putting these diagram names right here. Be really precise, okay? I mean, and that goes for everything in your playbook, because remember, I'm going to hit add. I can't right there, right, guys? Because we know I can't search that. But let's go to the next play. Remember, you can add things from anywhere in your platform. I was filtering just from my scout cards, but I could search from my playbook. Heck, I could search from the defense. So think about that, guys. You're playing an opponent that does something similar to what your defense does, and you know what they call it? Flip over to their side of the ball. And now you can search for their plays, right? You know, I could type in bump, and that's going to come up, and I can use that, make tweaks and edits, and it's not going to affect anything with that side of the ball. So use those resources to your benefits, right? Okay. And one thing that's nice is, like, obviously it's a scout team playing that. If you do have language on there and it's the same thing, they might be seeing that, and it's going to trigger home for those scout card guys, where they can then obviously, hopefully, do a little bit better job. Okay. Questions so far with what we're doing from that standpoint?
When you had the diagrams, or like when you made a diagram, how would you label the scout card so you would try to filter it out? That'll pop up.
You don't have to label it anything. So because I'm in my scout card section, we're working in our offensive scout cards right now. It automatically triggers that in our system that this is a scout card. So you don't have to label it anything with the scout card or anything like that. It's just automatically set up that way.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. So guys, I want to go back now. Okay. One nice thing is what I can do is I can move the order of these around. Like all of a sudden you want to, switch these, the hands can move that. But one of the things that I want to show you guys is, okay, you guys know how you recycle cards a lot in practice, don't you? I would imagine you probably do. Okay. So one of the things, like let's say we want to run this over G again in this period. I can actually come over to the left-hand side and say copy it within period. So now it just added that play down here. And you see it adds copy 1 on there just to make you understand that. You can change that and take that out right here. We'll click inside the play actually. And now you can see it does add copy to that as well. But maybe you want to take that out, click on that diagram name, and you can take that copy 1 out. But I can't stress enough. I mean, as a coach, I remember how many times like we would run similar looks. And how easy would that be to just copy that and maybe you make 1 or 2 little edits on that diagram and you're done, rather than having to go find things, hand draw it, all your redrawing everything up again. Now you have that ability to easily copy that. Okay, well, let's say we want to run tray versus odd, okay, in a different period or multiple ones. I can select multiple diagrams, copy it to a different period. Let's move this to team. And all I have to do is say copy. So now I just bulk actioned and moved multiple cards inside of that team period. You can see it adds a copy on there with it again. Not a big deal. If you want to keep that, fine. But it's up to you. Take that off. I prefer to. You have another coach, go take that off. Whatever you want to do from that standpoint. So that ability to copy plays to different periods, so on and so forth. Let's say this doubles versus odd. We don't want to run this on inside run. You actually have the ability to click on this over here, hit the drop down arrow key, and move the play. So we don't want it inside run anymore. We want to move this to 7-on-7. I can move it, and now we're in 7-on-7, and we have that play inside of there, which I can then go into my diagrams and pull that. Okay? Questions on that ability, guys? Anything making sense so far? Seeing how we can use this? Okay, let's back out. Actually, let's go back inside of it. One other function now. I like to bounce around here, okay? All right, we all have practices where, you know what, the next day it's going to be somewhat similar, right? It might be the same shell. Heck, we might be wrong. Maybe we want to show the same looks, okay? You have the ability on the top right actions. You could actually copy the practice. So now I can copy this practice and change this to Wednesday practice. I could copy it and change it to a different opponent if I wanted to. Maybe you're playing a team and they run a lot of similar things. You could actually go to that practice, change it, and create a new opponent, and it goes into that practice. But do I want to copy the diagrams? If I had video, I can copy, and I hit copy, take a short time. But now we're in Wednesday practice. So now I can come inside of here. It doesn't add copy to these diagrams or anything like that. You see it just goes inside, and now it's back to just exactly what we had. Okay? So that could be a nice piece for you guys, just with helping you guys, right, create structures to your practice and whatnot. I mean, especially like skeletons early on in the week. Maybe you want to get all your skeletons of your practices out. When I say that, I mean like your periods here. Again, after the fact, I could come out and I could delete a period. I can remove or reorder all of these. Okay. So we'll see coordinators, guys, literally script that out a lot by hitting the quick add, changing in then those calls. Maybe you're the one doing the actual diagramming of the cards, or maybe somebody else is, right? You can do different things from that standpoint. And it just gives to you 3 periods, 6 cards. That's what's inside of that practice. Okay. I'm going to go over here in a 24, and I want to show you guys. Let's just go into North Central, because I want to show you guys how we're seeing some teams really create a bank of cards for that week. And it's going to make more sense here in a second why. But basically now, what they're going to do, like from an offensive standpoint, maybe we want to put their pressures inside of it. So I created a new practice, and I called it North Central Pressures, right? It's still going to be North Central, and it's going to be whatever season I want it to be. Okay, here it is. Instead of now periods of inside run, 7-on-7, so on and so forth, I'm going to have whatever you want it to be. This is where you guys can be creative with your minds. Inside pressures, outside pressures. Maybe I want to call it man pressures. Maybe I want it to be zone pressures. whatever you want that to be. And you hit update. So now I have these folder structures set up, okay? I have the ability now to come inside of here and now create those. So early on in the week, you guys are probably drawing up a lot of cards, aren't you? Of looks you're gonna see, right? Well, now you have a bank of cards where you can search for that, so on and so forth, okay? So I can hit the quick add, this inside pressure, I'm gonna put in here, we're gonna see this bozo pressure, whatever you want to call it, or it's double A gap pressure. And you want to draw that up now. Again, you can only have one, but you can just draw all those different looks up. You can hit add. Again, we're going to search for it in my scout card section because chances are you've probably drawn up some of those pressures, right? So I'm going to take one of these that I've drawn up already. I'm just going to, flip it now for my defensive guys to see. All right, there it is. Okay, whatever you want to do, save and exit. So that's how we're creating that. You could actually, guys, take your video, right? And if you wanted to have video with that, you can add video. No different than you normally do. You can hit add, literally pull it in, have it downloaded from your computer. But we also have that ability. You all have the Huddle Wizard, I believe, in here, is to add video using that Huddle Wizard where you can pull that, a cut up in with all your different pressures and then assign that to go wherever you want it to go to those plays. Okay, so again, creating a bank of cards. All right, now I have this built out a little bit more on the defensive end, so I'm going to bounce over here and show this to you a little bit more built out. Okay, so like we have Penn State, let's say, pass plays. Same thing, smash, mesh, all the different ways we want to run these cards now, okay? All the different looks for it, so on and so forth. So what's going to be really nice now, once when you create those cards, again, you can just keep hitting the quick add. Once when you get into a practice now, all right, it's Tuesday practice, whatever it might be, and we're in 7-on-7, and I want to add a play, I can still hit quick add if I want, and I can draw that play up right there. Okay, I'm going to delete this play. Okay. There we go. But what I really like, if I have a bank of cards now, guys, is I can come up here to the top right and hit add cards. And now I have the ability to pull bulk, as many cards as I would like from previous practices into the system all at one point in time. So I can filter this by, who was this, Penn State? Penn State. Practices, Penn State, all my Penn State practices are right here, and here's my pass plays. I can filter it down by different concepts, or I can literally, or that period, which was a concept, right? Does that make sense, guys? Remember how I created, instead of that time I had, instead of inside run 7-on-7, I created what that concept was. Or I can just type in here mesh, and everything with mesh comes up, and you know what, we want to show these 3 plays. 3 different ways they're going to run it. They're a big mesh team, and I add 3 items. So now those 3 plays all came into my system, guys, right down there at the bottom. Ace, tray, triple, mesh, right there. I can go into those diagrams and I can make edits and tweaks, but hopefully you guys can see what's nice. I'm pulling in bulk cards, right? So that's Tuesday practice. All right, that I'm just now pulling in, whether it's offensively or from an offensive perspective, you want to pull in base coverages because it's Tuesday practice, you're going over base looks. As the week goes on, maybe you're showing your pressures more. You can pull those in. You can edit, change the names of all this stuff, however you want to do that. Questions on that, guys? Okay. Where I think this is huge, okay, is you guys all know, struggling with my mouse here. Thursday practice, I don't care if it's high school, college, or whatever, what are you primarily doing in Thursday practice? Reviewing team cards probably from earlier on in the week. Is that a fair statement? Okay, so I have my Thursday practice, okay, maybe that's Tuesday, let's go into Thursday practice. And I have both my team periods. All I have to do now, add cards. Instead of creating a whole new script, I want to go find those scout cards. So I'm going to come in here, Penn State. Maybe it's something, you could search any practice really, but I want to pull Tuesday practice and I want to filter it by my team period. You can do all of that right down here to pull in the different looks that you guys want. Go find your different periods. Again, you're going to have a lot of different ones because of those concepts. But, yeah, let's pull in sideline. Let's pull in this mouse is really messing with me. Let's pull in this power play, whatever it is that you want, this Y go. And we're going to add 3 items. So now you just added into your practice, guys, right here. And you can change things if you want. You know what, this Y go. Let's click on this. We actually want to run this on the opposite hash. Edit this. Flip it. However you want to do that. Again, whatever hash you want to have that in, you're using everything that you do. Maybe we want to add a different tag to it. Whatever it is you want, guys, you can do all that. And you hit save and exit. So, man, that Thursday practice should be a lot easier than hand drawing or, redrawing every single card. I can just pull in previous things that I did and make little minor tweaks and edits to it. As a coordinator, you still can create your script if you want, and if you want to add a different look in there that we didn't go over, fine. Hit the quick add right here, and that play comes up, and you can add in whatever you want to show, by changing your name, whatever it is that you want to put in here, right? We want to see Trey versus this, Bear cover 1, whatever it is, and now we can go draw that up using anything that we've ever done. Thoughts, questions on that, guys? See how that can really help you by hitting the add cards button at the top instead of hitting the quick add? Okay, let's talk a little bit now, guys. As you guys all know, the stressful part of things get messed up at times, right? People are drawing cards. Maybe you have other assistants, staff doing it. You want to get the final look of it, okay, before you go out to practice, or your coordinator does. Very easy. You guys can click on these little 4 squares, and now you get a very good preview of all the diagrams, a little bit bigger than what that other view is. So you can go through these different looks. Hey, you know what? We actually want to tag something different on this backside, or maybe it's wrong. All you have to do is click edit, and now you can come inside of there, and you can make a tweak or edit. We're going to take this part of it off. Whatever you guys want to do, you can do that. Flip it to the opposite hash, save and exit, and you're good. So I just think that as a coordinator or someone who's really working on the scout cards, the ability for you guys to see these, okay, in a clean way, you can make those edits and tweaks from there. You do have the ability, guys, just like you could copy a play within a practice and do that from the other view, you can hit copy right here. And that's going to then copy that right inside of there. You see, I did not add that tray diagram. It's telling me that, so I can hit add and then go into that and add that play. You could delete the play. Now, the one thing you can't do from this view that you can do in the other one is maybe I want to put this play up top. I can't move this and drag that over. Okay, if I want to reorder my practice, okay, I'm going to need to come back to this grid view and then click on your hands and move that order. But that's a minor thing that you obviously can make a note of to your assistants. Hey, move play 4 to play 2, whatever it might be from that standpoint to help those guys go from there. Okay, questions, guys? Thoughts?
I see the print period.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
How does this print? I imagine when you press print period, it prints all the diagrams out, but what does that look like?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so we could hit print period if you want, or what most teams will do is they're going to print all periods. Mm-hmm. So this is going to print my entire practice. Maybe you only want to do, right? Maybe your O-line coach is going to have a blitz pickup thing just for his indie period. Maybe he creates something and he just wants to print that. You could do that. But print all periods. So a couple different ways that you can do this. All right, this is great. This popped up. We're looking here. We're going to do only the diagrams, obviously. A little different than our playbook printing option. So diagrams only. Right now at the very top, okay, you can change your headers around if you want. Right now it's a condensed header. You can change different things however you like that. You guys find what works for you guys. But right now, guys, we are in portrait mode, okay? And right now, I want to have this padding. I like it as tight. It makes them a little bit bigger, less space in between. And you can see we're going 3x3 right now. So I like, and oftentimes when you're going to show that card to your guys, what do you want? Probably landscape. Let's change this to landscape. And let's change this to 1x1. Okay? Again, we're tight, and I want to stretch these diagrams to make them as large as possible. So I check that on stretch diagrams, and now, boom, we're going through practice. 1, okay? Right now, page numbers are on at the bottom. I can turn that off, okay, by hitting show page numbers. Actually, I want to put that down right here. So I turn my page numbers off. So it's just going to go through my period. 1, okay, 2, 3, so on, all the way through. Once we get to that next team period, okay, and you can see it's going through. Now we're in team 2, play 1 from that standpoint. Well, I don't know how you guys are, and tell me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people, like, if you're not the guy holding the card up, right? Maybe some of your assistants, you want to see the card that's coming up next. So we have a lot of staffs that will actually then print things off, and maybe they want to go 3x3, so they can see a lot of different cards on one page, and you can help. So maybe you have multiple assistants out there helping get guys set up. It's a lot easier than looking in there. He can look at the next card. I got to get this guy the secondary and cover 3 and whatnot. So bunch of different print options that you can go about right here. Questions, guys? Anything that pops up from that standpoint? Again,
Does the print feature, is it just the diagrams, or would it print also the script itself?
That, so right now that's going to be just your diagrams is what is going to show there from that standpoint. Now let's click table of contents. Would actually give you those play calls. So I don't know if again, we're not seeing a ton of people do it from that standpoint, but you can click that table of contents, and then these are all the plays that it's going through, right? Okay, let's exit out of here. All right, now what we're actually seeing a lot of people do, and I think this can be really good for smaller staff sizes, Division 2, 3 schools, high schools, where you don't get to meet with your scout team always, right? Because you just don't have the bodies to do it, right? So you guys can actually, Thursday practice, okay, 3 prongs on the top, click on that, have a scout team group, assign that to them, put a date range. So it only, remember, I can't stress this date range enough, just in general for our presentations, everything within our system, because we don't want that app view to get cluttered, right? We want the guys to see what's relevant to them at that point in time, that week. So put a date range on it so it hits their phone today, and we only want them to have it until tomorrow morning. I can change the time, do all that stuff. And I hit submit. Now it's active. I didn't assign it to anybody, but that will show up on their app, guys. Let's assign it to myself so you guys can see what this would look like. So now I got a push notification on my phone right now. I could click my player app, and your scout players can see this now on the app. All these different scout cards, shows up, whatever it is, okay? And you can click on that and see that now, and those players can go through this. And they're seeing them just like that. We're actually seeing staffs share this to themselves and bring an iPad out to practice. Whether or not you have Wi-Fi, whatever, and just swipe right through, make these go full screen. You can do whatever you want, but maximize that, go to the next play, and you're going through your practice so those guys can see it, hold an iPad up. Saves you on paper, right? For any of you that, are concerned about the budget, maybe Coach, you're probably the head coach back there, right?
Well, I like this idea, but I'll tell you where our guys would get lost is without a play number and screen.
Yep, I'm with you. So, I mean, obviously you can put that stuff in if you wanted to have that, from that standpoint in there. But we actually had one high school that blew it up on their big screen, on their scoreboard. They had a video board. They blew it up on their video board, and so the scout team would be facing the other way, and the opposing team would look the other way, and the scout team's looking right at it, and their cards come up. So we're seeing people do that stuff, guys, where you're able to just, again, share that with yourself so it shows up. And again, that's just simply making it active, inactive, whatever you want to do. Again, date range stuff, however you want to play that out. So that's your printing and whatnot. Okay. Questions overall. Again, adding in, moving things around. I love the new organization because this is easy for you guys. You want to pull something from one week to the next, you can easily go back and find different things. Instead of that long list, you know where things are at. You can click inside. You can copy things over here on the left-hand side. Let's say it's this Thursday practice. Again, you can drop down. You can delete that practice, okay? You can copy it right here. You can click edit, and it's going to just go into that practice, edit your periods, do everything from that standpoint. We were talking about having scout groups, right, guys? Again, one nice thing is if you add video to that, your scout players now can see that video too, maybe how they run it. So, again, what I could do is here's my practice. Let's go back actually maybe to, one of these pass plays. And literally what I can do, just come up here to actions and hit that huddle wizard. Pull in my zipped file, right? And I'm not going to be able to do it because this isn't my computer with a zipped file on there. But then you can assign that video to go to those specific plays in that presentation for you guys to go. So those guys can look at it and see it. We're actually seeing some teams, they'll actually have this and send this out even to their players because they're creating that bank of cards. Now, right now, obviously, you're looking at this scout card from an offensive, I'm in the defensive section. We're looking at this from an offensive scout player's perspective, right? Typically, you want your guys to see it from the defensive view. So maybe you draw it up that way. And then when you add it in, you simply click and edit quick and you flip it, right? However you want to play it out. If you want your guys to see it that way. We still will see guys. And what's nice is even if you build things in your presentation on maybe looks you might get, you could still search for that diagram, right? Because remember, we can be really disciplined with how we name things. And then we could search for that name. Maybe it's Smash, and you tag it in that presentation with Lake Forest or LF. I can search for that, and it's going to come up, or I could pull it into my scout cards. Questions, guys, with overall organization, creating a practice, bank of cards that we can use to help us, right? By hitting those add cards, but also copying plays, moving plays. Anything you guys want to go over, questions from that standpoint? MOBAP, guys? We're good? Okay. Now, one thing I will say is there is a 100-card limit within a practice. Okay? So, as you get to, that's a lot of cards in a practice, right? It's a lot of cards in a practice. So, we typically don't run into that issue, but just letting you know from that standpoint. Yeah. Coach, any questions for you in the back? No? Coach Rust? No? We good? Was this helpful? Okay. Anybody have any questions with just straight drawing stuff? Because I know we dove into that a little bit. Want to see anything? Any tricks with drawing? We feel comfortable with using all the different tools, multi-point tool, curve tools, and all that stuff? Okay, because that can obviously help your scout cards. I will tell you one thing, and not to belabor this and keep you in here any longer, but guys, we do see a ton of people save things when you go into your diagram. we will see people save a lot of team favorites, even like scout card stuff over here that you might see a lot of, because now it's so easy for you. Maybe it's O-line blocking, right? Let's pull in this right here, this ace look versus 4-3. And now maybe it's going to be this outside zone blocking. I type in outside zone, and I pulled in 5 outside zone reach blocks. I mean, look how easy that is for me to draw now. I don't have to do those one by one because I have those favorites.
So how did you get those? How would you save?
How did I save this favorite?
Yeah.
Easy. So whatever I want to save, maybe I want to save this look right here, this box. I highlighted that. Double click on it. You hit this star icon. We can choose a folder I want this to go in, or I can hit this plus and create a new folder and just hit OK. But we're going to put this in whatever. Maybe it's O-line blocking. And then you're going to call it this, we're going to say ace, outside zone versus over. So if you ever want that add to favorites, everybody on your staff can use that. So your defensive guys, in theory now, you guys can pull in a blank diagram and they could come over here now and type in ace versus, ace outside zone, did I say? Right there it is. And there's the box for me to click, hold, drag on the screen. And what can that coach do then? You can either flip the entire diagram, or you can always highlight, Control H flips horizontally, Control J vertically. So that defense coach can then use that. Same thing with the routes, right, guys? Keyboard shortcuts a lot. So, we're seeing a lot of people save scout card type stuff in these favorites, right, to help them get drawing, especially early on in the week when you're drawing those looks up, right? Because now, like we just showed you, later in the week when we're building that practice, or we're building, all we have to do is now add that card, search for it, it's drawn up. But early on in the week, we want to be really efficient with how we're drawing by utilizing favorites. We have these global favorites that every team has. And there's 14 of them, 14 different folders, which are awesome, right? Use those, but a lot of times people want to manipulate those, and you can. I could pull something in here, and manipulate this any way I want, and move these guys around. But a lot of times people want to resize these to have them set up in the way they want. And that's where those team favorites really come in handy. And I think just drawing or blocking stuff is awesome, because then I can draw double teams and stuff like that off it, right? These guys are going to work up to that guy, right? We're going to make that dotted, working where those guys are going to go to, so on and so forth. Is that helpful, showing you those favorites? And then remember, guys, you can also still add in text and whatnot for those scout guys on those scout cards. Text box, click, hold, drag on the screen, and there's just your text. But we're going to see a ton of people, right? Maybe pull in things, and this is also just a teaching side. Hey, we're going to attack maybe the flats out here, okay? And you can type in here in your text box. You can give that color so it stands out to your guys. Change your opacity, lighten it up, whatever. Or you want to have somebody go to the you want to have somebody go to the will. Boom. Let's pull in the will. Pull in this box, double click inside of here, and we type in that will. We can make him larger. Okay, we can give that a little bit of color so it stands out. Whatever you guys want to do from that standpoint. Again, we're a teaching platform, right, guys? And there's a lot of creative ways that you can utilize these things to help, not only in everything in our platform, but especially on scout cards. I drew scout cards a lot. And those scout card guys, you feel like half the time they don't listen to what you're doing, right? Make things stand out, pop out for them to help you guys have a good team period, whatever it might be from that standpoint.